Law. Health and safety regulations in sports law play a crucial role in the safeguarding well-being, injury risk and fair play for athletes. A modern example of law in sport would be the 150 cases of financial law against Man City, where they are currently in court for alleged breaches of financial law in the Premier League and other competitions. If found guilty, Man City would suffer massive financial loss and could be deducted many points, which could lead to relegation and suspension from other competitions. This exists to keep order and protect the players. If there were no laws, football would become violent and injuries would skyrocket. Before laws in football were stricter, there would be many challenges that would see multiple match bans, but back then wouldn't have even been a foul in the early 1970s. Another way sport law has laws is betting. Over the last few years, many major players with bright futures have ruined their career after purposely aiding a bet they or someone they know might have placed. An example of this is Lucas Paqueta, after he was found guilty and charged after he intentionally got himself a yellow card for a friend's bet. Duty of care. Duty of care is the legal and or moral right to ensure the well-being and safety of others. It is a responsibility of a person doing business with another person. This is because of the Health and Safety Act of 1974. In sport, this requires all players and coaches to have a set standards of professionalism during the training sessions. Any act of unprofessionalism or recklessness can cause safety of participants to drop. The session becomes a risk. An example of being reckless would be a bad challenge or an uncontrolled arms during a challenge, as this causes harm to both players, as it could escalate to something more than football. Higher duty of care is the legal obligation. Oh no, I was supposed to read that in the next bit. Higher duty of care. Higher duty of care is a legal obligation, especially the care and safety of children and or young people. This is because young people are seen as less careful and are needed to be watched more closely. That's why it is a legal obligation. In sport, this falls under the coach's obligation to protect young children from adults. In loco parentis. In loco parentis is Latin for in place of parent. This means that if a parent is not present, someone takes responsibility of the child, acting as a guardian for the child. This falls under the 1989 Children Act that states that a person must do anything to look after the child's safety and needs to ensure maximum security of the child. In sport, this occurs when a child goes to a camp or training session, and the coach becomes the loco parentis and has full responsibility of that child during and after the child is back in the care of a legal guardian or parent. Negligence. Negligence is the lack of care of a person's well-being. This occurs when the duty of care isn't present in the household and the basic human rights aren't being followed. In sport, duty of care is a common law that all must abide by, players and coaches alike. Being negligible to a person can cause serious harm, as it could change opinion and safety of a person. Challenge 2B. Health and Safety at Work Act 1974. The Health and Safety at Work Act of 1974 is the primary legislation in the UK that sets out the general duties employers and employees have towards ensuring health and safety. It places the duty of care on employers to ensure employee health and safety and requires them to assess and manage risks. In sport, this is displayed when coaches do risk assessments of their area and training sessions that make sure the player's safety is at the utmost priority. Reporting of injuries, diseases and dangerous occurrences regulations. RIDDOR requires employers and others in control of work premises to report and record certain workplace incidences to HSC. This includes serious injuries. This includes certain industrial diseases and dangerous occurrences. RIDDOR doesn't usually apply in sport, especially not during training sessions, as it is a sport-related injury and doesn't reflect on the safety of the session. Control of substances hazardous to health. COSH is regulation in UK law that requires employers to protect employees from harm of hazardous substances. These regulations cover a wide range of substances, including chemicals, biological agents and gases. Kosh is not present in sport as it does not involve hazardous substances unless a player is taking PEDs, which can be harmful. Manual handling operations. MHOR are UK regulations designed to protect workers from injuries during manual handling tasks. They require employers to avoid hazardous manual handling, assess risk when it's not avoidable, and take steps to reduce the risks. The regulations cover lifting, lowering, pushing, etc. In sport, MHOR isn't very present unless things such as goals and football equipment are being moved. Fire Safety and Safety of Places of Sport Act. In 1987, the Fire and Safety of Places of Sport Act was created to allow local authorities to determine whether the stands at their local sports ground are regulated to be a stand. This comes after the 1985 Bradford fire disaster where overcrowding occurred in the lower stand and someone dropped a cigarette causing the stand to burst into flames, killing 56 people and injuring many more. This changed the way stand regulations were made and regulated.